Okay, boy, I tell you, business picked up overnight. It was, well, I made yesterday's video, and within a couple hours, all of a sudden I was getting calls and people stopping by. The hardware store, a lot of people go to the hardware store. They sell Husqvarna equipment, lawnmowers and weed eaters. So a lot of people think that they can take their stuff back over there. I guess they think they'll work on it or something. Well, they send everybody over to me. So that's a big bonus. There's two gals there that work there that just are just the nicest ladies you'd meet. I don't know if the owners actually do that, but the two gals do. So last night, the guy brought 3 pieces of equipment. He brought this, says it doesn't run. It runs perfectly fine. I think what they do is they don't turn it on. They just pull and pull and pull, and then it floods it, and then they realize, oh, I need to turn it on because it was on when he brought it over, and then it's flooded and it won't start, so it doesn't run. So he brought it over. I pulled it first pull. I wasn't expecting to start, and so I instantly shut it off, hooked it up to water, let it run. Then I put the hose on and sprayed water. So got that, and then he brought me a weed eater. Again, doesn't run, and I started it. It was so easy to pull. It was so easy to start, I should say. I was testing compression. Well, I was just testing compression. Let me go back. I don't want to confuse the story. And it was laying on the ground. And I just kind of picked up the rope. That's all. I just picked the rope, see if there was compression to it, and it started. So that one runs. So I'll service this one. I'll put oil in it and all that stuff. I'll service the weed eater. And then there's a blower here, leaf blower. Now that doesn't run. It doesn't have any spark, so we're gonna get a new stator, ignition coil for that, and we'll change that out. So service, ignition coil service, not bad. And then today I went and picked up a lawnmower, and this one's a big job. It turned out to be a huge job. So it's a riding mower, and as you can see, I've already got it completely disassembled. And I didn't make a video about the disassembly because I had to dig into it to figure out exactly what was wrong. Was it the camshaft or the cam or a push, not a push rod, a lifter? So I just had to figure out what was wrong with it, and ended up, the whole engine's apart now. So there's the head, well, the head's over here, but I had to take the head off, and I had to take this cam out. I'll have to take it out again to put it all back together. Took the top off. New battery. It's going to need a new stator. So where's the flywheel? The flywheel, I've already showed you my lawnmower and one other lawnmower had flywheel issues. Well, here we go, another one. Magnets fell off of it, and it was stuck to the stator. Just 2 this time, so that's not too terribly bad. So I'll fix that just using JB Weld. I'm not a big fan of it, but that's going to be a $200 flywheel if I replace the whole thing, and it's only 2 magnets, so I'm going to try it. There's the head, and so I'll show you what happened to this. I'm trying to keep it covered so any mist of the rain doesn't go into the engine. So here's the push rods. This is the intake. Now in Briggs & Stratton, the intake is aluminum and the exhaust is steel. But Kohler, I guess, uses aluminum because this is the intake and this is the exhaust, and they're both aluminum. So I broke it. To be clear, I broke it. I did it on, well, I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't want to break it, but I broke it. But that I didn't do. That's what was wrong with it. Was the push rod was bent. So I don't know what bent it. My guess is it died because the push rod came off or something. And when I say came off, so my guess is the lifter popped off. And when it did, now you have the push rod going in and out, just slamming up against everything. And I'm guessing it hit something and it just bent it, because I can't find anything else that would cause that. So this is going to be a big job. $205 in parts. Of course, I had to get a battery. Nobody ever wants to give you a lawnmower that has a battery in it. So, and they don't want to buy one. That's what's so funny. Yeah, you'll see. So I went and picked it up, and he says it doesn't have a battery. And I said, so how do you want to work the pricing? Do you want me to just fix the thing as long as it's worth fixing, or do you want me to call you with a you know, some pricing estimate? And I said, the first thing we're going to do is get a battery in it. Well, how much is a battery? And I said, well, you know, probably 45 bucks since you don't have one, because, you know, I got to get there's no core charge. Oh, well, yeah, I guess you'll have to have a battery. I mean, I don't know how they expect me to start the thing without a battery. I know that you can buy one of those jumpers, but I mean, you should have a battery. Not only that, this has a PTO, so it runs on electric. So, and the magnets falling off, it didn't even have electric, so I don't know how he ran it. So anyway, we got that in today. And then I was working on this, and the guy calls and says, I got a weed eater to bring to you. Now, I didn't make any money off that. So he brings it in and says it needs adjusted on the carburetor. Well, that's what the symptoms are, but realistically, it had the cylinder was scored. So it overheated and it got scored. So I put all the parts in a Ziploc bag and said, you know, if you don't want to pay, I won't put it back together. If you want me to put it back together, it's going to be an extra $15. He said, no. He says, do you want it? And I said, no, I have so much junk around here. He said, just put it out in front of your truck and I'll come get it. So he already went and got it. So that's done. And then, I guess I'll tell you about the truck again. I guess I'm just taking it one step at a time with the truck. And I know somebody's going to say, well, you should just take it to a mechanic, or they're going to say something, but I'm just taking it one step at a time. And we'll figure out what's wrong with it. So I'll go back through the story. A few weeks ago, we got a code. And the code indicated that we need a variable valve timing solenoid replaced. So I did that. I didn't know what it was, never heard of it. I mean, I've done a lot of research on it since, and I understand how it works and why it works and what it does, and it's actually a pretty cool system. So it takes oil pressure and adjusts the valve while it's running. It's really neat. And so it gives you more power or less power depending on what you need. So it ran forever. Never coated again. Probably 500 or 600 miles. And then we went and pick up, we went and did a service call real quick. And it coated again. So I brought it home. Next morning I got up and it was a quart low on oil. And I'm telling you, that quart made a lot of difference. It really did just changed the behavior of the truck completely. So I made a video about it. And somebody suggested, Tom actually suggested, that I change the PCV valve. And I was thinking, you know, it might be PCV, not valve. The V is probably the valve. Anyway, I was thinking, you know what, I should have done that a long time ago. That's a good point. I just had forgotten about it. So I ordered one, 16 bucks. So now the reason I ordered that is he's right. If it's not working correctly, it will blow oil from your sump, your crankcase, through the fuel system. I would like to say carburetor and exhaust and all that, but that's not how it works. But anyway, so I went and ordered one of those. And so we went down to pick up this Cub Cadet, and on the way back it coated. Now here's the thing, when I put oil in it, I let the truck warm up, drove it up and down the road. It got hot. I probably put 15 miles on it, just test driving it, make sure everything was running after I put the oil in it. Came home and the oil pressure was about 30 something pounds. Of course, before, with the oil low in it, it was at 19 at idle. Both times were at idle. So 35 with fresh, you know, with the topped off in oil, 19 with a quart low. So I was thinking, okay, this probably fixed it because I'm back at 35. And it has been consistently at 35 ever since. So we went to pick this lawnmower up, drove it down there, everything was fine. started coming back. Now it was a gravel road. It was lots of hills, and so it's having to do a lot of acceleration and different things. And coming home, it coated again. So as soon as I got to the gas station, the flat and level spot, I shut it off to check the oil level again, just to make sure we didn't burn a lot of oil, or I got a massive leak that I can't find. And because I went under the truck and looked the other day, see if there's any leaks. I've checked the oil, see if there's any water in the oil. I've checked the water, the antifreeze, see if there's any water in the or oil in the antifreeze. Everything's fine. So head gaskets are fine. It's not smoking. It generally runs fine until it codes, and as soon as it codes, it just stops running well, and then you reset the code and it runs fine. So anyway, check the oil pressure again, and it was at 19. So when I reset it, it was at 35. So it was at 19 when it coded the other day. Reset it, it was at 35. It was at 35 at idle for the entire week. And then on the way back at the gas station, it was at 19 again. So it's dropped again. So I reset it. Just when we got home, I reset the code and I let it cool off. And then I took it for a test drive, 15 miles, came back, idle, 35. So I think what's happening, just a guess, I got three more things I can try. My guess is one of two things. The oil sensor is heating up, and when it gets good and hot, it no longer is registering correctly. So it's not just when the engine heats up, it's when the oil sensor just stays too hot too long or something like that. So I'm going to change that. I'll probably change it Sunday. I have one in the truck. I actually have two. So I'll change that. That's not going to be an easy job because I got to take out the wheel well. So I'm not too excited about it. Got to take tire off and all that. But I'm just going to sit down on Sunday and just do it. If it's not raining. And then as soon as we go to Walmart in the AutoZone, I'm going to get an oil filter and I'm going to change the oil again. It's at 53% right now. And just as well. So another thing that could be happening is the oil viscosity has degraded some reason. Not sure why it would have. But if it's getting too thin, that means that when it gets too hot, then, you know, after an hour on the road, let's put it that way, you know, the 15 miles seems to be fine. But when we're out on these hills, I'll change the oil and see if that makes a difference. So that's two things I can do. Another thing could be is the variable valve timing solenoids could be bad again. I don't know why they'd be going out this quickly, but I will say that when I changed it, one of them had a hunk of goober on it. I don't know what it was. That was obviously restricting the flow through it. So maybe something's boogering it up. So maybe I should just take it out and clean it. Of course, they're not that expensive. I can just change it. So I might just do that again. But I'm going to do the other two things first. The last thing it could be is the oil pump. And that's the one thing I'm not going to try. So after I do those three things, new sensor, oil change, and then once again do the solenoid, the variable valve timing solenoid, I'll do that again. And if it's, and the PCV, but that shouldn't have anything to do with anything as far as the code. That's just so it doesn't burn a lot of extra oil. And then I'm going to have to take it to a mechanic and get the oil pump looked at. I don't think it's the oil pump because the oil pressure is still fine. Why? It would seem to me if it was the oil pump, there would always be low oil pressure. And it's not always low oil pressure. While I'm driving, it fluctuates like it's supposed to and gets up to 70 pounds when I'm accelerating up a hill, and it drops down to 40 and stays at 40. But it's just when everything starts to get hot, really hot for a long period of time, is when it decides to drop in pressure on idle. So like I said, I'm not, unless something that's heating up on the oil pump is causing the problem, but I just don't think it's the oil pump. So we'll try those three things first. It is starting to worry me. I mean, this is could be a problem. I don't want to spend thousands of dollars on a truck that's only worth thousands of dollars. So that's been my few days. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to over my other channel. There'll be a brand new video on it. So if I can inspire you to work through your problems, sing, live your dreams. Thanks for watching.